Today, we concluded on marital preparation, the 7 pillars of marital preparedness. This evening, I want to talk about that title, Perfect Match or Perfect Misery. Perfect Match or Perfect Misery. We are going to consider the key factors that someone should consider when choosing a spouse. What should you look for when you want to choose a spouse? That's what we are going to consider. Some of you already might have chosen, and after this lecture you may need to choose again. But yes, there are certain factors that are very fundamental. Let me begin by asking a question. How many of you have ever heard of this phrase, a match made in heaven? A match made in heaven. Okay. Yours are matches made in hell. A match made in heaven. What does it mean? The concept of a match made in heaven is that this couple, these two people, they are so compatible. They really match each other and they love each other so much, and the bond and compatibility is so strong, it almost seems that they were brought together by some divine force. It's not just human. And it says that everything about their relationship seems to just flow effortlessly. A match made in heaven. I hope that it is your desire to have a match made in heaven. But some people challenge the phrase and they said, even a match made in hell is still a match. A match made in hell is still a what? It's still a match. It might be a match, but it might be full of trouble. A match made in hell, on the other side, describes a pairing or a combination that is disastrous and toxic. It implies that these two people or two things, they are completely unsuited for each other. The union is therefore doomed to fail or to cause harm. Some of you are products of a marriage where we can say it is a match made in hell. One time I looked at a certain woman who was found beating a certain child very terribly in Uganda here. How many remember that woman? The video went around on social media. The woman had beaten the child so crazily. And I said, the man who married this woman, this was a match made in hell. How do people end up in abusive relationships? How do people end up in toxic relationships? There are certain factors that lead people into relationships that are bitter instead of better. One of them is what we call online dating. Online dating. The more digital the world gets, the more people move from physical dating and meeting people to this online imaginary ideal world where you put what you look like, and finally they trace for you all the people in Kampala and say, we think we have found someone who shares almost the same things you want and the same things as you have. Online dating. There are international online dating sites, but I was amazed that Ugandans are really online daters too. I thought that only Americans do this, but I found out Uganda has a lot of dating sites. And some of you might be on one of them somehow. One of them was called Mingo. Mingo. Free online dating for Ugandans. 100% free. Another one was called Tinder or Tinder. I don't know how you call it, but it says that use Tinder to match with someone who shares your interests and explore the night with a new friend, grab a drink at a local bar together, enjoy coffee at a nearby cafe, or go sightseeing with someone who shares your interests. Online dating. The problem with online dating is that people do not have time to observe each other. And in online dating, people always present their best, not their worst side. And so you're going to be seeing their best, and sometimes they even give you a picture that is not theirs. And you imagine that that's the person, and you say, yeah, this kind of face I will be glad to take home. All right? People always create what they want you to see, but the reality on the ground is quite different. Now, some people have met with people whom they thought matched what they were looking for online, but when they met physically, finally, those people did cruel things to them. I was reading one news article, an article on Psychology Today. Women have sued some online companies, dating companies, after being raped or attacked by men who they became acquainted with through Match.com. So these people met people online, and then you went to meet with them, and you were raped by that person that you were matched to. One of the people was a woman that was aged 50. She sued this company for 10 million US dollars after being stabbed by a man that she met online. And this man who stabbed him was 53 years old and attacked this woman with a butcher's knife. And while this man was arrested and put in police custody, he confessed that he had met another woman on the same platform and killed that woman. And police were still searching and didn't know, but now he confessed it. So he's using the online platform as a predator, looking for people to kill. Another news article, NDTV said, woman who flew for nearly 5,000 kilometers to meet the man she met online was killed for her organs. 5,000 kilometers, you leave your home trying to trace the man you love, only for them to kill you to harvest your organs to sell. Online dating. Online dating. Online dating is not just dangerous because you meet people who are likely to harm you, but research also shows that online dating has higher divorce rates. Online dating has higher divorce rates. According to one law firm that deals with family law, they say that study reveals early divorce for couples who met online. Couples who meet online have significantly higher chances of divorce within the first 3 years of marriage compared to those who don't, according to a new study. Researchers note that as more and more people are finding love online, the divorce rate will likely keep increasing. Right now, more than half of couples, at least in America, they meet online. Thank God in Africa we can still meet each other in church, meet each other in the seminar. I hope you've seen someone or you're continuing to check. We can meet each other in different places, physically, and observe in classrooms. The world is getting more and more digital in other places in the world where people go for online service, church service is online. People shop online and food comes from. People study online and degrees arrive at their doors. What time do people have to meet with each other and observe each other? Therefore, husbands and wives must also come from a click of a button. As a result, there is more divorce. According to the research that was conducted by Marriage Foundation, the study that surveyed 2,000 married adults, researchers found that 12% of couples who met online, they had divorced or were in the process of divorcing within the first 3 years of marriage, compared to 2% of those couples who met in person. Look at that divorce rate. 12% of divorce, marriages that were consummated from meeting online, but we only have 2% for those meeting online or meeting physically in comparison. What that means is, it is much better if you can meet someone more physically, know them, than to meet someone, a digital figure. Now, many men who are predators, they actually go online and they use wrong names, wrong pictures, wrong professions, wrong information. So actually what you are looking at, and you go around boasting to others, I have met Mr. Right, might be non-existent Mr. Right. You meet Kevin on the profile, the man is called John in reality. You meet a pastor on the profile, the man is a pedophile in reality. and you'll wonder. So what determines whether the match you will have in your marriage is a match made in heaven or a match made in hell? What determines? A match made in heaven is one that looks so wonderful, you guys, your love flows. A match made in hell, someone may die before the marriage ends. What determines? Not God. You determine. You do what? When it comes to marriage, God has given each of us the opportunity to make a choice. While God can give you a wife, God gives you the opportunity to what? To choose. God never forces someone on someone. And choices have consequences. Choices have what? Consequences. There is something that we call marital compatibility. Marital compatibility. That means marital compatibility is the degree to which two people in marriage are well suited for each other in terms of their personalities, their values, their interests, their goals, and other factors. It is about having a strong connection, understanding, mutual respect, ability to work together so that you create a fulfilling and satisfying marriage. Whenever you're going into marriage, there are certain factors that will help you to know whether the person you're marrying or getting married to is compatible to you. And I'm going to look at the major ones. The minor ones are up to you. Now, usually when you want to get married, I would advise a young person, it is good to have a list. Not a list of women, no. Have a list of the qualities you are looking for in the one that you want to marry or the one you want to be married to. Are we together? Have a list. Your list could have, number one, essentials. This is the place where you will never compromise. Number one, there must be this. Number two, there must be this. Number three, and it's more about character. Are we together? That is about character. If she lies, she's not the one. Lord, I know she's not the one. If she tells me that she is addicted to this, Lord, I know she's not the one. I will not compromise however beautiful she is or he is. Are we together? So essentials. Then there is another area where you want preference. I prefer this compared to this, but even if I don't get this, I can compromise for this. For example, some of you say, I want to marry a brown lady because you want to make your village bright. You have all been living in blackout. So you're looking for electricity on the skin of a woman. And therefore you make up your mind early. I want a brown woman. I am going back to our country with light. Okay. When the time for marriage comes, you realize only darkness surrounds you. They look beautiful in heart, a beautiful soul, I said, but not beautiful in what? In face. Yet when you look at them, you share a lot in common. You even find that the things they like are the things you want. You like. And now your issue of brownness begins to disturb you. Shall I continue looking for brown? Or I can compromise and just get this beautiful soul. That is preference now. Okay. Someone in the list may have preference for a musical woman. I want to marry a lady who can sing well. When she tunes music, me, I'm over in the house. Even if I'm just humming, I know she will make it to the end. Musical, okay. Time for marriage comes, and the music doesn't seem to be coming. But you're finding people who are really objective, someone who loves you, someone who is serious about marriage, someone who has the qualities, the character, but there's no what. When she tunes her voice, you also wonder. At that point you may say, after all, music is trained. I will train her once we get married. You can compromise. So there are areas of essentials where you never compromise, and there are areas where you can compromise. Are we together? Those ones have to do with skin color, the length and height of the person. Those ones would change based on where you are, where you work, people you meet. But character is what makes a home. No compromise. Make up what you want as standard. So I'm going to look at some of the factors that you need to consider, and I'll give you a few today and tomorrow some others. Factor number one of compatibility is age. Age. I brought that one there, number one. Age. We are not yet still there, but we shall see. What do I mean by age? Number one, there are marriages that are begun prematurely. Someone gets married when they are not mature in what? In age. They either run to marriage because they got pregnant, so run and get what? Married. That's one. Or they get married because all their age mates are getting married and they are becoming worried. So instead of being worried, let me hurry and marry. They get in, yet they have not considered the issue maturely. Yesterday we said you need to have mental, spiritual, physical, emotional maturity if you're going into marriage. Now some young people, they are 18, 19, 20, they are already very quick, they want to get what? Married. I want to tell you what the news says and what science says, and then you can make a decision. Do not ask me what is the right age to get married. It depends with culture, and it also depends with maturity. There are some people who are mature by 25, no, by 22. Others are 30 and still very babyish and boyish. Yeah, are we together? There are people who are just big in body, but they are not big in what? In mind. So maturity differs, but what you need in marriage is maturity. Yet, there are certain age limits that you need to be very careful before you make a choice for marriage. In a certain book I was reading, the author said, a youth that is not out of his teens is a poor judge of the fitness of a person who is as young as himself to be his companion for life. So if you know that your age as we speak still reads teen, just put out marriage out of the box. Did you hear me? If the age you have as we talk still reads what? Teen, just put it off. Why? According to Women's Health magazine, one article said in 2022 that the young couples might want to wait a few years before getting married. A relationship therapist explains why older couples have lower divorce rates. So this licensed marriage and family life therapist tells us about it. She says here that young love is known to be incredibly romantic, but does it last? Not so much. When people get young, they feel a lot of chemistry. You remember that chemical we talked about? Yeah, it's there. But does it last? She says not so much. Couples who get married at age 20, they are 50% more likely to divorce than couples who wait until they are 25. With 28 being the sweet spot when it comes to marriage, as study says. Now this might be American. I don't know the sweet spot for Ugandans. Where if you marry, you say, this one, I got married at the right time. For most ladies in Uganda, I have seen 21 to 24. Am I right or wrong? 21 to what? In fact, they even leave university to marry first, taste it, and then I will come back to finish daddy. Just let me bring you an in-law. Okay. There seems to be a deadline we have, but people who get married around 25 onwards, they do that when their minds have matured. Their considerations are higher than those ones who are marrying at what? Why? What's the issue? There is a good amount of international that supports the understanding that marrying young correlates with higher divorce percentages. Marrying young correlates with higher divorce percentages. A lot of times, this is what happens. Younger couples may not have given themselves time to think about what they really want in the long term. For now, your greatest desire might be, I want to capture this man. Or, I want someone that has money. That one to you may be the greatest thing. Or, to you a man, I want a woman that every man who sees will turn their neck. That may be your chiefest consideration. But when you get into marriage, you realize that heaven you saw on the face was actually hell in the heart. I know the English proverb that says, not all that glitters is what? Is gold. From the outside it might be very what? Glittery, but then it may turn to gold. Now what they think they might want as a younger age is not necessarily what they want down the line as they keep aging. And after they have now seen the world, after years of marriage, this young couple, they have seen the world, they have experienced more of life, perhaps their views begin to change. Their views about what they needed, their views about the spouse they needed. They realize, I wish I had married a poor Christian than a rich heathen man. They realize, for the sake of their peace. And they give a reason here. They say up to around the age of 25, the human brain is still developing. Up to around what age? 25. The human brain is still developing. Specifically, the part of the brain that is necessary in making informed decisions about the potential consequences of life's choices like marriage, also known as the prefrontal cortex. Folks who wait until after 25, they will have higher success rates in avoiding divorce than couples under 25. And I will emphasize this especially for gentlemen. Women mature faster. Women mature? Hey, these ladies, if you marry your age mate, she will manage you. That's the right word. I don't want to say she will rule you. She will what? Hey, she understands you better than you understand what? Psychologically and emotionally, women mature faster than what? Than men. And for you, you don't multitask. For them, they can what? They know how to deal with these issues. That's them. So for a man, I would say, the longer you take time to choose right, the better for the future of your marriage. The more lasting it shall be. So if you are still not yet out of your teens, and even if you are 20, I would say it were better for someone to finish school and get married than to marry while still in school. You may disagree. While still talking about age, it's good to talk about age difference. Age what? Sometimes the difference between the age of the husband and the wife might be a cause of a challenge. Some men prefer ladies that are much younger than them, probably 20 years later. Some people ask, have you married your father, or is that your husband? That's a good question, but culture also sometimes dictates. All right? There are people who lose their first wife, who dies, then they marry someone much younger. In that case, sometimes it works very well. But this is the challenge they say. They say that you might have been brought up in two different generations. The things that appeal to this older one and the things that appeal to the younger are what? So for you, you want to watch football in your house. The old man is asking, how does football help me now? You have problems. For you, you want to chat with your husband when you have gone to work just to know how they are. Since you sent a text in the morning, no reply has come. The man likes for just to call and say, how are you doing? Is the food on the... Yes, the food is okay. Okay, thank you, I'm coming. Now you want those sweet texts where you know, la la la. The man has no those things. For him, he was taught a woman is supposed to be loved by giving her money, full stop. For you, you are taught that love is also expressed in what? Sweet words. And one day you compose very sweet words you send to your husband, and he doesn't see any sense. He wonders, now, what is it? Very sweet, but you have just wasted words. So sometimes it's good, yes. It is better, I would say, for a man to be older than the wife, but let the age difference not be too much at the same time, so that you still have some things that you share about. Some men also marry too late, and they get very young wives. The reality of the matter is that the mental power of the man has reduced, and therefore the children they give birth to later, because they have aged too much, the children might be mentally retarded. Always having some challenges. Number 2, they will leave most of the work of caring for the family for the wife. Because for him, his age has already made him to have a disadvantage. He is old, and the children may not get the care they want. Are we together? So it's good to consider those things. Age, number 1. The second factor for tonight is religion. I said age. The second one is religion. While the world is changing and people think religion doesn't matter, as long as I get someone who knows God, that's okay. I want to tell you that religion is very key factor when it comes to marriage. Why? Because the religion you come from determines your beliefs concerning what? Marriage. What do I mean? The Bible says in Amos chapter 3 verse 3, for those who have read the Bible says in that book, can two walk together unless they are agreed? Can two walk together unless they what? They agree. For example, if you're a Muslim, your faith allows you to marry how many women? 4. Now you're a Christian woman. Your faith only allows you to be the wife of one husband who is the husband of one. Then after you get married to the Muslim, he says, by the way, I'm bringing for you another sister. You begin fasting, praying, fasting the whole night. Your husband becomes the main prayer request. You go to church, you say, Pastor, prophet, prophesy, what do you see coming? And he says, you have not brought enough offering yet. Please go back, go back. The problem is, your husband is viewing marriage through the eye of a Muslim. And according to Islamic culture, he is just right to bring even 3, 4. Isn't it? According to Christian culture, you feel like this is not right. We are too crowded in this marriage. Are we together? So the religion of the person really matters. Okay, you are Roman Catholic. Your children want to go to church on Sunday. Oh, you are an Adventist wife. You want to carry the children on Saturday. What are children going to learn at the end of the day? This one says Saturday you go there. The next day they think they should now do homework. The father says, for us today we are going. Now there is problem in family. Okay, so if you are a Seventh-day Adventist, you want Saturday to be your day to go to what? To church. The old man says, no, I have visitors coming. You need to cook for them. What are you going to do? And already pastor gave you work at church. You are the one welcoming visitors where? In church. Your husband says, I also have visitors coming to my home. And then he will ask you one question. Did you get married to the pastor or me? How will you answer? Religion does what? It matters. Let me read from another family lawyer. They said, religion versus divorce. Having a religious affiliation decreases your risk of divorce. So first of all, if you're a religious person, that gives you security in marriage. Number 2, however, if you and your spouse do not share the same religion or beliefs, your marriage is more likely to fail. Why? You'll always be arguing. Always be what? Arguing. One will say, this church of yours does this. You people don't even speak in tongues. Oh, for nothing. So in the family, the husband wants to pray, and this one believes in dreams. This one does not believe in what? So this one dreams that God has commanded me. Bring the pastor to pray for us in the house. The man says, another man in this house coming to pray for what? Those are the people who have bewitched you in your church. Problems begin. Are we together? So you really need to choose well. Another study says here, studies have shown that religious involvement can reduce the divorce rate. So if you are involved in religious matters, it reduces divorce rates because religions generally, they value marriage. Except now, the devil is forcing us to disvalue or to devalue marriage through this push for homosexuality. Studies have shown that religious involvement can reduce divorce rates by up to 14%, according to one study. And at least one study reported that couples that attended church together were less likely to divorce. Did you hear that? Couples that attended church together, they are less likely to what? So if you know you are Pentecostal, please Ask God to help you get a fellow Pentecostal. If you are a Seventh-day Adventist, pray for God to help you with someone you can attend church together. If you're a Catholic, the same. Now that doesn't mean we hate Catholics, we hate Protestants, we hate Muslims. No, it just means you care for your marriage. You care for your future. Are we together? And so you're looking for someone who can help to reduce the burdens that come. I know marriages that have failed only because religions did not see things the same way. It is good to marry with people that you share the same thing. The Bible says, can two work together unless they do what? Unless they agree. It is important. It is important. As my screen come up, it's coming. Maybe perhaps I should talk about the third one as I wait for my screen. Culture. This one is shorter. Culture. What? Hey, culture. You need to consider culture when you want to marry. Again, can two work together unless they agree? You see, when you are getting married, you're not getting married for the two of you. You're not going to live in the sky. You're going to live in a certain community which has neighbors, which has family, which has people. You'll be going home to visit, you'll be coming back. But here's the problem when cultures differ. Cultural differences can bring communication difficulties. For example, I have been told here in Uganda, there is a certain culture where people don't care how they talk even to their parents. They can even call the father by their name. John, I was saying, you have heard me, but you're joking. They call their father by name like that, and there is no what? Now he comes to your home and calls your father like that. And your father will first remove his specs, which he has been using to show that he can't see well. But because he has heard, now he removes it so that he can see what? All right, I have learned of another culture where there are a certain group of people, maybe in Uganda, I don't know. But when they speak, you think they are annoyed, but they are not. They are very happy. But the way they speak, you think that something has already happened, we need to bring fire and cool down things. But for them, there's no problem. Even I can come and check, is everything well in this family? Kumbe the people are snoring, they are even happy. But you see, if that happens, you may think, is this woman quarreling me? What have I said that has made her angry? Because culture that brought her up is different from the culture that brought me up. Culture brings different expectations. I have heard of a culture where it is the women who provide for the men. Men, their work is to marry. So they marry here, they have like 4. So these women are supposed to work and feed the what? The man. Other cultures say that it is the man to do what? To work and feed his family. So here is a man from this culture where women feed the men. And you have come as a woman from another culture where men feed the what? Now feed each other. Number 3, there are different cultural superstitions. For example, maybe you come from a culture that says that when a child is born, they have to be given ancestral name to reflect the spirit of the ancestors favoring that child. And you come from another culture where it doesn't matter. You even bring names from America, David Johnson. But for them, they want to add you another name from your what? And you say no. And problems begin. Or when a child is born, the superstition says to protect the child from the charms, they must tie something around the what? Maybe they were tied for you, say the truth. They tie something around the... Now me from my culture, we don't care about tying things on the what? But the woman insists you must tie. And me, I say no, not on my child. Problems. Other cultures say you have to cut the stomach with a razor blade. I don't know whether you have had such cultures. They cut a little, preventing demons. Now, other cultures say they must be shaved when the child is born by so and so and what and what. Those cultural differences, to the woman, she may even disappear for 2 months, going to for her people back home to do those cultural things, and you as a man, you have said no. And when she comes back, you say, you cannot bring me the demons from your village, go back where you came from. That marriage is breaking. Another thing about culture is family dynamics. For example, there are cultures like American culture doesn't care much about taking care of your parents. They don't care. African culture says we took care of you when you were young, take care of us when we are old. So if you come from a culture where people don't care for their parents, yet your parents are aging and you need to be close to them, and you tell your wife, let's move closer to our parents, and she says, not me. Me, I was born and shaped in Kampala, we are going to live there until death does us part. Problems what? Begin. Another issue here, I would say, Ugandan women, Baganda especially, their culture tells them to do what in respect? They kneel, isn't it? So you marry from another culture that does not think of doing what? Then you bring a wife from our country, Kenya. For us, you greet everyone like standing. There's no kneeling. And with a lot of respect, but inside our hearts. Where's the respect? Hey, so just now your father. You say, Dad, I have brought the lady of my heart. Okay, let me see her. And the man is waiting for, And the lady comes and says, Daddy, how are you? And the man speaks. And the woman has a lot of respect. But the man cannot, because of cultural what?